Welcome back to another episode of Plead Your Case, episode 7. In today's episode, I'm going to be sitting down to talk about the World Series, along with should the NFL have a replay review system, as well as doing another 5 and 5, so stick around.
Hey there, sports fans. You're watching another episode of Waynesburg University Community Television's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. Whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, get ready to join us every week as we dive deep into current pressing sports topics. Our panelists dissect every angle, every scenario, and every statistic to influence their fiery takes.
What has he done without Tom Brady?
And spirited arguments.
No, listen, Bowtie. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
There will be no argument unexplored, and every take will be under review.
After reviewing the play...
Here in the Waynesburg University Communication Department, we believe in heated debates with a touch of friendly competition, which is why we also have a fresh 5 and 5 mini segment that you won't want to miss.
I don't think a pitcher is breaking Cy Young's wins record of 511.
You Google America's team and what do you get? You get the dollar.
So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious sports chat. It is time to plead your case.
All right, welcome in to the first segment of Plead Your Case. I am joined by my panelists, Rhine and Luke Andruscik. We're going to talk some World Series baseball here. New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, two of the highest paid, that has the highest payroll in the MLB. And right now, it's just the LA Dodgers. They're up 3-0 as of the time we're recording this. Game 4 at Yankee Stadium is tonight, with Game 5, if necessary, happening tomorrow. But we have a 6-3 Dodgers win in Game 1 in 10 innings, thanks to a Freddie Freeman grand slam. We have a 4-2 Dodgers win and a 4-2 Dodgers win as well in Games 2 and 3. Now, Haley, I'm going to ask you first, what has stuck out to you throughout these first 3 games?
Honestly, the Dodgers have shown up where the Yankees have not, and that is the takeaway here. Only a select few Yankees have shown up with, Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton and maybe a few others, but the whole bottom of the Yankees lineup is just not showing up. Aaron Judge, one of the biggest hitters, one of the most, he was expected to carry this team to win the World Series, and he's only hitting around 170 after these games. And, on the opposite end of that, the Dodgers have been hitting in big moments, like Freddie Freeman absolutely obliterating the Yankees this series with 3 home runs, 1 in each game so far, and including that incredible big grand slam to walk off of Nestor Cortez, who again was coming off that injury and was supposed to be big for the Yankees. So one of the teams is showing up, one of them is not, and I think that is the clear case why it's a 3-0 lead right now for the Dodgers.
Luke?
Let me just say this. You better start spreading the news that the New York Yankees are getting swept today. I've agreed with everything Haley said, basically. Aaron Judge, you're the MVP of the American League. You hit 322, 58 home runs, and 144 RBIs. And this is the biggest stat. 1.189 OPS in the regular season. In the postseason, he is hitting with a 605 OPS, 20 strikeouts, and 40 at-bats. You're striking out half of your at-bats. I mean, you can't do that. You're not going to win. They somehow, because they have all these studs like Soto, who has been carrying that lineup, along with Stanton, he's been killing it in the postseason. He's 6 for 40.
Yeah, I mean,
and 20 of the 34 at-bats where he hasn't gone on have been strikeouts. I mean, he's been playing terrible. He continues to not show up in playoff games. He has been hitting 196 in his career in the postseason with a 733 OPS. He just needs to show up, and he's not going to do that. And I don't think he's going to do it tonight. That's why I think the Dodgers win in 4. They're going to sweep tonight.
Yeah, one thing is the Yankees' offense has just been struggling all series long. The Dodgers, they get into the game, they get on top early, and then the Yankees are stuck playing catch-up. In all 3 of these games, they were playing catch-up. And it's just too much because the Dodgers, when they get out in front, they're going to stay in front, which for the Dodgers is great. And I agree. I really think maybe the Yankees might squeak out this win, force it to Game 5 tomorrow. but I don't know. I still think the Dodgers have this one, which kind of sucks because this was a highly anticipated World Series. The amount of hype that went into this World Series was huge. I mean huge, because this is superstars on superstars is what this World Series won. And it kind of sucks to see this possibly end in 4 because it's just been so dominant by the one team. And even the pitching has struggled for the Yankees too. I mean, we saw Walker Buehler yesterday for the Dodgers, and then in Game 2, Yamamoto pitched for the Dodgers, and they both did great. One pitched 5 innings, one pitched 6 innings. So it was good on the Dodgers. Dodgers are just clicking on all cylinders right now, and the Yankees are not. But with both teams coming from high markets, both of them have the biggest and highest payroll out of everyone in the MLB, both over $300 million in what they're paying their players. Now, is this World Series going to be the final straw in terms of the MLB needing a salary floor and a salary cap?
Yeah, if you look at all the teams who made the League Championship Series, that's the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, and Guardians. 3 of them, the Yankees, Mets, and Dodgers, are top 5 in the majors in payroll. The only team that isn't in was the Guardians, who are surprisingly 23rd. They just have a good team. If you look at this graphic we have up on the screen, we have some small market teams that have won from in the 2000s. Arizona, Florida, Chicago, which is arguably a big market, the Cardinals, Kansas City, the Cubs, which is also arguably a big market, along with the Nationals. So it's only 2 times out of a decade average
it's only
that a small market team wins of the World Series, which if you look at other sports like the NBA and the NFL and the NHL, that doesn't happen. Small market teams win a good amount of the times. Although big free agents still do go sign with teams that have big markets, they don't win all the time because they still have to, if they're spending big money on a player who wants to come to a big market, they got to spend little money on the rest of their team, where in the MLB they can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, plus players want to play where they can have success. I mean, we see that we see it in every sport really, including even like college, like with college football and stuff. Obviously, everyone, if I'm a 5-star recruit, I want to go play for the top tier dogs like Georgia, Alabama, stuff like that. So I get from that point. But Haley, what do you think?
Well, personally, my final straw was when Justin Verlander signed a 2-year, $80 million deal and was getting $40 million after coming off of an injured season. I think that was my final straw. But for most fans that I've seen and talked to, this World Series has been the final straw for them. I mean, obviously there's only so much that the MLB can do about a cap and a floor because they need the agreement with the MLBPA. And the MLBPA is the Players Association, so it will go players first, and the players need that money. So I don't think we're ever going to see a cap or a floor just because the MLBPA and the MLB continue to butt heads. But I definitely think maybe a cap, not so much, but a floor I think is the most necessary thing where it will force these small market teams to be, we all have personal experience with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I think that is where this is kind of rooted from. A floor will definitely help force them, maybe not so much Bob Nutting, but it will force, these teams to spend more money so we're not stuck watching the Dodgers and the Yankees in a World Series.
Yeah, I think every baseball fan wants a salary cap to be implemented, but it's nearly impossible because the last time they tried to implement the salary cap was 1994, and the Players Association, the MLBPA, denied that, and they went on strike, and it canceled the World Series for that year. They're worried about how much money they can make. If they implement a salary cap, the contracts are going to go down heavily, and the players don't want that. Why would you want that if you were a player? Why would you want to be paid less? I just don't think it's going to happen. There is a luxury tax where this year it was for the 2024 season, it was $237 million was the threshold that you could spend on your team overall. But that didn't stop the Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, and Astros from going over it. They did get taxed, but those big market teams can pay that tax.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter. I don't think there's really ever going to be a chance for a salary cap to be put into the MLB.
Yeah, personally, I think there can be. It's just going to take time. The lowest market or the lowest payroll team would be the Oakland Athletics, now Las Vegas Athletics. They're at a little over $63 million, and then the Mets are at the top with well over $300 million based on what they're paying their players. So I think what the MLB can do for now is introduce a cap floor to make all those lower market teams like the Athletics, the Pirates, spend more money up to a certain threshold amount of money, and then come back that same year and kind of say, okay, down the line, 5-10 years down the line, where most of the players' contracts should be about up, or really, it doesn't have that much of a cap hit, introduce a salary cap at that point in time, so then you have the floor and the cap. Because if you introduce both at the same time, I feel like it's not going to work out.
Give the team some warning.
Yeah, give the team some more.
I feel like
pluck.
it could work like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I did the math. I took the median amount. Is what I think the MLB should do is immediately introduce that cap floor. Let's say you set it at $150 million. Let's say that make those teams spend that much, because we know every team, especially in today's age, can afford that for their players and stuff like that. So if you set it there and then don't introduce that cap until a decade down the line, and then set it, let's say, 250, and then each year work it down to where you want it. I say you should set the cap by the time it's all said and done at $190 million, because that should be right in the middle for those low market teams and those high market teams. And all the teams are going to profit off of it, because it's going to make the league way more competitive. Mm-hmm. And we already see that with other sports like the NFL, the NHL, with those lower market teams. I know I talked to you about this earlier, Luke, about the Tampa Bay Lightning in the NHL. They were bought in the mid-2000s for $92 million, and they just sold again for just under $1 billion. And that's right when the salary cap happened. So those lower market teams, they're going to make more money. These teams are going to make more money. It's going to be way more fun to watch in the MLB.
I agree totally.
100%.
I think that would work if they give teams a warning of, hey, the salary cap is going to hit at this time. You got to start paying your guys a little bit less. Again, I don't know if the MLB Players Association will want this to happen. It could lead to another strike, which no baseball fan wants. The baseball as a whole, Major League Baseball, doesn't want that to happen. So I think it'll be a difficult challenge, but I think it could work if they do it in that way.
Yeah. Now, final question for both of you. What would you guys do if you guys introduced a floor or a cap? How would you go about doing that? Haley, we'll start with you.
I honestly agree with what you said. I would go that route too, because to me that's the best way to just ease everyone into it. And it's been such a hot topic in baseball for so long. So many people have argued over it, and I think just easing it in slowly. Again, like Luke said, though, that MLBPA is going to be a thorn in the MLB side no matter what they try to do, no matter what route they try to take. I mean, honestly, good for them for fighting for their players, but at the same time, there has to be that equality there. And, no matter what we do, it's going to be a long road.
Yeah, although I agreed with how you guys would go on with it, my final saying is that I think it is quite impossible for the MLB to implement a salary cap, not calorie sap, just because of how much money is put into these players currently. Mike Trout getting paid an insane amount of money, Judge, Ohtani, those guys are being paid so much money where their cap hit is just insane each year. I don't know how you would rework those contracts, and those players don't want to get paid less. I mean, it's going to be very hard. I mean, and the player values goes down if you make a salary cap. The player value goes down. The players don't want that. I don't think it's possible. But the way you guys say, if they had to implement a salary cap, I think the way you guys explained it would be the best way.
Yeah, I think it for sure can happen. It's just going to take a lot of time to do it. And by the time it's done, I think it's going to be better off for the MLB and all these franchises, because they're going to make more money off of it. But that's going to do it for our World Series segment and salary cap segment with all this. But coming up next, I'm joined with Dean Shazer and Brett Gombita for the 5 and 5 segment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what are you doing? We're on in 30 seconds. Thank you, Corey. Where have you been?
Just around.
Okay.
Fading up to Tyler and Mia in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Mia Hinkins.
And I'm Tyler Aaron, and welcome
to Jacket Sports Weekly.
Well, it's time for another edition of the 5 and 5 segment. I'm here with Brett Gombita, the challenger, and the former champ, or returning champ, Dean Shazer. He took down Joey Cirillo in the last edition of 5 and 5, but we got a great list of topics here today.
A new challenger awaits.
A new challenger awaits
And it's me.
indeed. All right, so you guys know the rules. You guys get 30 seconds to plead your case on each of these 5 questions, and then I'll just tell you who wins based on each. So, do you want to start first, Dean?
What's first question again? Can you remind me?
The first question?
First question.
All right, so is the World Series more of an all-star showcase or championship series?
Yeah, I'd love to start, Tyler. Just let me know when I'm ready.
All right,
Let me know
whenever
when they're ready to
whenever
count
you
me
start.
down. Ready?
All right, you
All
ready?
right, yeah.
3, 2, 1, plead your case.
It is absolutely not an all-star showcase, because I believe the reasoning behind this question is you look at the 2 biggest markets in baseball, and they currently play each other in the World Series, that being the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The last time they played each other in the World Series was 43 years ago. And I understand the statistic of, only 2 small market teams win every decade. But if you look at the past few World Series matchups, you have the Washington Nationals versus the Astros, you have the Atlanta Braves, you have the Tampa Bay Rays, you have all these other markets.
All right, time's up. Time's up.
That's all I got to say.
Brett, plead your case.
This year, it is absolutely an all-star showcase. Let's go back. We'll revisit Game 1. Pirates all-star Garrett Cole versus Cardinals all-star Jack Flaherty. Marlins all-star Giancarlo Stanton hits a home run with Nationals all-star Juan Soto on base, and Braves all-star Freddie Freeman hits the walk-off. It is an all-star series. It may not have been in years past, but this year it's an all-star series between 2 teams that are big markets, that are pay to win with no homegrown players, and I'll concede the rest of my time.
All right. Brett, we're going to start with you on this one. I just want to know who's the better player, Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani?
Shohei Ohtani, in my opinion, is the better player. Both have struggled this year in the playoffs, but Judge has struggled more than Ohtani has. And as a hitter, Ohtani is just up there with Aaron Judge. He was only 5 home runs away from Judge in what was seen as a historic season hitting the long ball for Aaron Judge. Very few MLB players have been able to pitch and hit like Ohtani has, and that's what puts Ohtani over the edge on Aaron Judge for me, and he's accomplished more in his career in a shorter time.
See, now you talk about being only 5 home runs away from Judge, but do we only remember Judge only played 106 games last year with 37 home runs? That's a pace for 57 home runs. That would have put him 3 consecutive seasons with 50-plus home runs. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani, I understand the sub-3 ERA, the high amount of strikeouts when he pitches, the flashiness in his worldwide fame, but Aaron Judge is a more prolific hitter when it comes to baseball, and had he not got injured last year, that's 4 50 home run seasons before the age of 30. Are you kidding me?
All right. So now we're going to transition now from baseball. We're going to go into basketball for these last 3 questions here. Going back to you, Dean, to start, is J.J. Redick, new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, is he the difference that the Lakers need?
He's absolutely not maybe the only difference the Lakers need, but an improvement for Darvin Ham, absolutely. I just saw a video resurface the other day of Darvin Ham during a huddle in a Lakers timeout in a live game. He was like, all right, we have to get together. Salute. Whereas J.J. Redick, a player doesn't do his assignment, he gets taken out. LeBron's starting to hold players accountable. He's more outspoken with Redick. Him and Redick work well together. LeBron being more of a player coach is going to help this Lakers team and J.J. Redick succeed in the long run.
Time's up. Brett?
J.J. Redick is not the difference maker for the Lakers. He's a first-year head coach with no prior coaching experience, and he shouldn't even be evaluated this early into the season. But he may be an improvement over Darvin Ham, but what I see the main difference as for the Lakers this season is the health of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And the Lakers have looked good in their first 4 games so far this year because those two are healthy. And that's what they need to keep pushing forward and getting these wins is the health of their superstars, not in J.J. Redick.
All right, moving on to the fourth question now. Brett, you're going to start off this one. Bronny James, we know he just got drafted. He just played his first career game with the Lakers. So back-to-back Lakers question here. Will Bronny become a competent NBA player?
No. Simple answer is no. He averaged less than 5 points per game in college. And if you look at some of the guys that he's competing for with minutes on that Lakers bench in the rotation, Cam Reddish, Max Christie, those guys averaged 13 points and 10 points per game in college in their one-and-done years as well. And as a guard in the NBA, you have to score, and Bronny just does not have that ability. As I said, he only averaged 5 in college. So he doesn't have what it takes. He cannot be a competent NBA player.
Competent, yes. Elite or all-star, absolutely not. We're talking about the son of the greatest basketball player of all time, LeBron James here. LeBron James Jr. It's in the name, and I understand he doesn't have the physical ability and the outlandish, any type of task that LeBron James does. Bronny James Jr., he doesn't have any of those qualities. With that being said, you look at guys like Corey Kispert, just received a 4-year, $54 million deal on a bottom 5 team in the NBA, averaging less than 11 points per game.
Done.
And you're telling me Bronny James won't be competent?
All right. We've been very heated here so far. One more question to go. Will Draymond Green make it through the entire NBA season without getting suspended at all?
I'll start here. You look at the 2023 year, Draymond Green got suspended three separate times in 2023. And I understand, you might be thinking I'm going to say he's going to get suspended. No, he's not going to get suspended because he understands that this may be the last shot of a closing window for a Warriors team to win a championship. They cannot afford Draymond Green's foolishness. Stephen Curry, Buddy Hield, Jonathan Kuminga, and Draymond Green all need to stay healthy to give this team a chance. And with that, they need the right headspace, not punching teammates in practice like a few years ago.
Done. Brett?
Yeah, I'm also going to take the road less traveled here, and I'm going to say yes. The Jordan Poole incident where Draymond punched him in the face, that was 2 years ago. I think Draymond has matured after that and matured as well after the incident with Yusuf Nurkic last year where he socked him in the face. And with Klay Thompson now gone and off this team, Draymond has to be even more of a leader to these younger players. And a lot of that comes with not getting technical fouls as well, because if you get 16 technical fouls, that's a 1-game suspension. Draymond only had 10 last year. That was his lowest total in 7 years. He said this year he's going to get less than 10, and he's going to do that, and he's not going to get suspended.
Done. All right. Very good arguments by both of you. I think you guys only agreed really in the last two, kind of a little bit with the Bronny James one. The fifth one you kind of were on the same page with. But I think Brett had the better answers. I have it 3-2. I have Dean. I had you. I think you won the World Series one between the All-Star Showcase or a championship series and the Bronny James being a competent NBA player. Brett, I have you with the J.J. Redick, the Judge or Otani, and as well the Draymond Green suspension.
I disagree, respectfully. I disagree. Hey, I just wanted to point one thing out before I leave this segment. You guys may not ever see me again on this year's edition of Plead Your Case. Our host and our other talent are roommates. Thank you very much. This was
that has
Shazer
nothing
on
to do
5
with
and
it.
5 and Plead Your Case. Signing off.
That has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. But Brett is going to be your winner. So when we come back, Luke Andruscik and Haley Rhine are going to join me back on the desk for does the NFL, should there be a replay challenge system on penalties? Stick around.
Welcome to The Journey, Waynesburg's only faith-based show.
I'm Meg Berry. I'm Mia Hinkins. I'm Deanna Hernandez.
I'm Connor Hoy.
I'm Tyler Aaron.
Joined by our wonderful panelists and talent, we take a deep dive into God's creations, share some words of encouragement, and most importantly, worship Him. From sharing favorite songs and motivation to personal stories, all while having fun.
Gethsemane, okay.
Gethsemane. Yama Sabat.
Join us each week here on WCTV to learn more about our Savior, Jesus Christ.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Journey, and God bless. We're back here for the final segment of Plead Your Case. I'm here back joined with Haley Rhine and Luke Andruscik here. And for this final segment, we're going to be looking over, should the NFL have a replay review system for penalties, game-altering calls? There's been a few examples over the last few weeks, a few Steelers ones, just to name a few. Mika Fitzpatrick's unnecessary roughness call against the Colts and the leverage call against the Jets last week. And yesterday, George Pickens' 2-feet catch in the end zone against the Giants, as well as back on Thursday Night Football, the face mask on Sam Darnold back in the back of the end zone that resulted in a safety to end that game. So there's definitely, and the rest of obviously came out and said that they've missed calls in the past. But Luke, I'm going to go over to you first. Should NFL teams have the ability to challenge calls that can be deemed game-altering?
You know, I really wrestled with this idea during preparation for this episode. In my opinion, I say no. I think it will ruin the pace of the game, but I think if you want to even implement replay for penalties, you can only do it for so many penalties. Back in 2019, after the 2018 NFC Championship game where the Saints lost on a brutal call, that probably was a pass interference. They implemented in 2019 a challenge for pass interference, and of the 81 times they were challenged, 13 of the challenges were successful. So referees are correct more than you think more than you think they are. So I think adding it in is just a waste of time. It's going to make the games longer. It's going to stretch them out more. Maybe for the NFL, their ad revenue will go up. But as a watcher, as a viewer of football, I don't think it's a good idea.
Haley, what do you think?
Now, I am on the opposite end here. I definitely think that they should. I mean, it's no different than any other challenge. Like in the MLB, they've been making more rules, I guess, for the MLB challenges to kind of, I guess shorten how much time they spend on challenges. But I think game-altering plays, especially in an NFL season, each game, each play is so important. And you mentioned about, it will change the pace of the game. But I don't know, me personally, and this may just be how I am, but I like when there are replays. It gives me a chance to take the time and evaluate more. I mean, like I said, I am learning more and more about football, so it is one of my weaker sports as an announcing major. So honestly, just giving the replay, I like the time that it takes. And I'm one of the unpopular beliefs that there are some people that say, well, shortening the games, keeping it within a pace. But I think they're necessary. Game-altering plays need to be reviewed. They literally will dictate some of these game results.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Haley.
Yeah.
I think there has to be some human error in the game of sports. I think that's what makes it so great. Back in the 1800s.
There always is human error.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There always is.
There's always a missed call in a game. I can think of one last night on the punt return that the Steelers took back, Calvin Austin. It looked pretty clear to me that the Steeler ran into the punter of the Giants. But if you look on replay, and because the referees are right there down on the field, they saw that it really wasn't much contact, and they didn't call it. But you could, if you implement the challenge there, Tomlin throws the flag, or not Tomlin, Dable throws the flag, it's not overturned, and you waste a challenge there. I think if you do that, you're just going to have to keep it as a challenge flag and not make it a whole new, penalty challenge flag and a play challenge flag. If you use it, you'll lose it. I think that's what you do.
Yes.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I can see that point too.
I also think if you are going to do challenges, you can't make if you're going to do penalty review challenges, you can't make every penalty reviewable.
Reviewable, yeah.
And if you can't review every penalty, I think it's dumb to put in penalty reviews in the first place. I think, false start, offside, delay a game are some of the big ones that you could do. It's like timing ones. Did he move before the center snapped the ball? Was the defensive player over the line of scrimmage when the ball was before the ball was snapped? That's what I was trying to say. Delay a game. Was the snap off in time before the clock ran out? Those are some things I think you could challenge, but usually the refs are correct on those types of plays. Like pass interference, holding. We've seen what happened with pass interference in the past. 13 of 81 challenges were successful on that. And holding happens on every play. If you ask any NFL player, holding happens on almost every play in the NFL.
Agreed.
And players get away with that all the time. I think that would be silly to put in.
Timmy, can I just suggest something real quick? I was thinking about this earlier. I was wrestling back and forth. This is just a suggestion, and like adding the whole new penalty flag is kind of like something that is a little bit different. But what about, I was thinking, what if it was more like they had it, but it was more implemented towards the back end of the game, like the second half of the game?
Yeah, I was thinking
where
about that too.
Gets down to the nitty gritty, where you like maybe the first 3 minutes of play, you really don't want to challenge, throw your penalty flag.
Yeah, I was gonna.
But in the last, I was thinking about this morning. Maybe fourth quarter, you could get that opportunity more, because when it comes down to a real close game, some of these 15-yard penalties, some of these things that are super egregious, you need to consider challenging that as a penalty.
I just want to say this before we wrap this up. I like it. I was actually thinking about that prior of, okay, what if you just initiated a challenge flag in the last 2 minutes? Because especially if it's a one-score game, then that's game altering. If a call happens or a call doesn't get called, then that's going to be considered game altering, not something that happens in the third quarter or anything like that. But if it's at least a one-score game and under the 2 minutes, it would make sense to that. But then also, Haley, you said in your first agreement, you talked about the pace of the game. I think that there's no such thing as pace in any sport, because sports are unpredictable. You can't really predict sports, because so much can happen. There could be an upset that you're not expecting. There's no such thing as pace. So it wouldn't be a bad thing if replay review for penalties happens, but it should be a one and done. If you lose, if it's gone, it's done.
Use it, you lose it.
You use it,
That's what I would do if
they
had to do it. And I would also only make it for the fourth quarter in those game-altering moments of the game. Yeah. If you're doing it the entire game, why would you?
It's just a waste.
Why would you?
I agree on that.
Challenge a false start in the first quarter.
And it's like the pass interference thing. Rule was kind of not the greatest, but it would make sense for a rule like that to happen if it is a one-score game under 2 minutes. Because then if that gets called or it doesn't, that's game altering. We're going to see that with the Commanders and the Bears, because the Bears just filed a complaint or something on multiple holding calls on that Hail Mary. Yeah. But nothing's probably going to amount to that. But that's all the time we have for this episode. I thank my panelists, Haley Rhine and Luke Andruscik, for being on, as well as Dean and Brett Gombita on for the 5 and 5 segment. But that's going to do it from us here from Waynesburg. You all have a great day.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.